Welcome to Real Talk TV. My name is Darryl Buchanan. I'm your host. I got another good show for you guys, man. I just want to thank everybody for the support. You can continue to watch the channel and watch the show. I've been waiting for this guy to get here. Finally got him here. But before we get to that, I'd like to give a few shout outs. I'd like to give a shout out to WMCT-TV and the staff and producers here for making the show happen. Alex, Ryan, Mike, and Matt, appreciate you guys. Like I say all the time, man, you guys stay committed to the show and you help me stay committed. I'd like to give a shout out to Joseph Bennett out in Boston, Yard Time Entertainment, man. Appreciate what you're doing, bro. You're out there working with the kids, man, and diverting them out of gangs and just being a presence and a force in that city, man, and I appreciate that. I also like to give a shout out to Wayside. You guys are working with the young people, man. You're doing your thing, and I appreciate that. And I also like to give a shout out to my peers and the staff at the Recovery Connection here in Marlboro. Appreciate everything that's going on. You guys are stepping up, and we're getting things rolling. We have our open house coming up this Friday, May 26th, man. It's from 10 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We invite the public to come out and see the center, see what's happening, see what we're trying to do out there. We'll be cooking, having food. We have speakers, people from different centers coming in. It'll be a good time. It'll be a good place for the community to come and get involved in what we're doing. Hey, that's enough of that. Like I said, I got a good guest here. I've been trying to get this guest here for a minute. He was on tour, just came back from tour, and I'm just glad to have him here. And I'd like to introduce my next guest is Justin Clancy. He's a Massachusetts-based recording artist, man.
I'll wave at.
There you go, brother. There you go. Yeah. No doubt. And he's also a person in long-term recovery. Happy to have you here, my brother. You know, appreciate you taking the time to come and sit down and kick it a little bit.
For sure. Glad to be here.
Hey, can you just tell the listeners just a little bit about you?
Sure. I like long walks on the beach, medium-sized dogs, you know what I mean? Subway's all right, you know? I'm a artist, musician, director, piano guy. Sometimes.
I love what you did at the center.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. It's a rule I have with myself. If I see a piano, I have to play it.
Yeah, when you said that, I gotta go play that. I was like,
yeah, I have to. It's a rule.
Okay.
Yeah, and a person who just so happens to be in long-term recovery.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
What was your environment like growing up? Where'd you grow up? What was it like? Like, you know, I tell everybody, like, my environment was very toxic, you know, inside and outside.
Yeah.
How about you, brother?
Oh, we getting right into it, Darryl. Yeah, like growing up, like, you know, I'm from Peabody.
Okay.
It was me, my mother, my grandmother, and my father and my mother were divorced. My father was one of us, so like growing up, like he was incarcerated for some period of time. So yeah, and it was hard. Like I was an only child. I don't have any of the weirdo only child isms though. It kind of, but it was tight because like, you know, I spent a lot of time alone. You know what I mean? Just like playing with my toys and like you know, I used to make movies with my toys.
Wow.
Yeah.
My son does that. That's good.
For real?
Yeah.
Your son's gonna be crazy then. Yeah. No. Like so. I remember one of my earliest memories was like my mother got pissed because I had covered my room with like baby powder. You know what I mean? I was probably like 2 years old, 3 years old, or whatever. But it was like one of those core memory things.
You was painting or something? Or
No. So I covered my whole entire room in baby powder while she was asleep, right? And when she asked me why, I was trying to make the set from Aladdin.
Oh,
like I was trying to recreate, you know what I mean, with the sand and like, you know.
Yeah.
So I went for it, but like, yeah,
wow,
it was pretty hectic. You know what I mean? Like it was hectic for everybody. I'm sure it was hectic for my mother to like kind of try and keep some sort of family fabric.
So your father left you, was out of the house then?
No. My father's always been in the picture.
Okay.
He has like the fatal human condition.
Substance use disorder, right?
Yeah. He was fatally human. You know what I mean?
Yeah, got you. Oh, cool. How was you? What type of student were you? How did you like school?
I sucked at school, man. Yeah, for sure.
What was the problem with school? You just didn't want to be there? That was my problem.
My thing was like I would test well, You know what I mean? Like I'd go and I'd show up and like I'd be fine, but it was just getting me there. You know, like I never liked sitting down in one place for a long time. I have like this oppositional defiance thing. You know what I mean? So like any like authoritarian figure, like I hate them immediately. You know?
That's why I have some of that.
Yeah, for sure. So like teachers like sucked for me. You know what I mean? And just like having to like ask to go to the bathroom and like, also I feel like the schooling system is very like ABC. Like if you don't learn like this and if you can't learn at this pace, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is a bad message, right?
Yeah, which is wild to me. You know what I mean? Because, like, no, I mean, not to toot my own horn, but fucking toot, like, I'm pretty smart, dude. You know what I mean? And they have me, like, in the rooms without the windows and shit. You know what I mean? Like, they have me in there with the... and like the teachers
You're not
like,
institutionalized.
Yeah, I was ready, dude.
Yeah.
I was ready for it.
That's crazy. That's nuts. So, brother, how'd you get introduced to drugs, man? I mean, when the initial introduction.
I think the initial introduction was when I was prescribed Adderall and Ritalin, and like
And what age was that?
Like 7.
Wow.
Yeah, you knew they thought I was fucked up, for sure. Yeah, man, I was introduced to the myriad of like all of these substances, and it kind of gave me, like I talk about it all the time, like this preconceived notion that like there's an external solution to an internal dilemma, a chemical solution. You know what I mean? So that being said,
that's a dilemma too.
For real. It was like a lot of cognitive dissonance there, you know. So like as a result. It translated into me thinking that I needed drugs in order to be what society deemed as normal.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
Like, it's not, like, I'm 7. I'm gonna be crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't make the fucking rules. Your 7-year-old's gonna be nuts, dude.
Yeah.
So, like, it was... I was automatically put in a disposition of where, like, you know, the teachers saw, like, this troubled young mind whose father's in prison. And you know what I mean? So, like, anger issues. And, you know, if you could catch the pill on your tongue, that was your diagnosis.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So,
I like the way you put that.
Yeah, so, like, 7 years old, dude, like, before school, take a pill. During lunch, like, they would come and grab me. The nurse would come and, Justin, come with us.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, come to the nurse's office, take another pill, get home, crash.
Talk about traumatizing, right? And be a part of the system, right?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a good introduction.
Wow, so it started
to be
there.
Facilitated as a human.
Exactly,
You know?
And they do that with a lot of the kids, man. I just think that, they seem like they... drug us all,
for sure,
or drug them all,
for sure,
and for any problem, and so even like you say, what appears to be normal. And I have that issue with my kids. Sometimes I sit back and I'm like, is he all right? And then someone, you know what they tell me? Like people around me, like, Darryl, he's a kid, and I've never raised a kid before, right? Yeah. So I didn't know, and I think when I look at some of their behaviors, maybe they do need some meds, but then I just think, nah, they're a kid. They're kids, and kids are gonna. You know, I mean, look, what they do is not gonna look like, you know, most of the time like we perceive, how I want them to behave or think they should behave, my perception, right?
Right, of course.
So, you can't keep drugging it. Yeah, they do kind of prepare them for this thing that we got.
Exactly.
Prepare it. I believe that.
I found a lot of like parallels, you know what I mean, to when I was a kid to then like when I was in detox, and I'm like, I gotta go and take my pill in the morning, and go wait in the med line and take my pill in the afternoon.
Wow.
And at night.
It is, wow, that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Lots of parallels.
That's crazy. So did it progress? What happened?
For sure, it definitely progressed.
As you got older, I'm sure.
As I got older, like, and I was dealing with a lot of mental health stuff. Okay. You know what I mean? And
was that just because of the situation and with your parents' divorce and all that?
Yeah, well, it's hereditary too. You know, like everybody in my family like suffers from severe mental illness. You know what I mean? Like everyone, everybody, and addiction too. Okay. You know, so like there's a lot of like trauma like I would rather not touch on that
No,
like
I got you, yeah.
goes from there and like stems from like, you know, my mother and my grandmother and stuff, and like, you know, it was hard. Like growing
Yeah.
up it was not fucking easy.
Yeah.
It was difficult. So a lot of that like caused me to like, you know, lash out to an extent. But also it was like not having, like I have this thing where I want to try and be like the person that I needed when I was growing up.
Wow.
That's
Gotcha.
like my goal. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So with that being said, growing up, like I didn't have that. I didn't have that person.
That person, yeah.
You know, so I didn't really know what to do, which ultimately resulted in me gravitating to like the not so good people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then in turn, experimenting with drugs. You know, like the first time I got high, I was 12.
Wow, me too. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. The first time I saw cocaine, I was 13.
Me
you
too,
know?
bro.
The first time I saw a gun, I was 14. You know
Bro,
what I mean?
it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So
Wow.
it was a progression in a sense like that. But
Wow.
yeah, I mean, it was, you know, I was 12 years old. I walked into the woods. We smoked some really bad weed out of an Arizona can, dude. And it was great. It was great
It is
until
great.
fucking wasn't anymore.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's
It was
what it
great. Yeah. Till the nightmare came, right?
For sure.
So how did it end up? How did it end up? I mean, for me, it was crack. It started in the beginning, and then when I had the cocaine at 13, I fell in love.
Yeah.
Meaning, you know, all the feelings that I didn't want to feel, I didn't have to feel, and all the feelings I wanted to feel, I felt, and I loved it. And
Yeah.
40-something years later, you know what I mean? For
Right.
40 years, I did that.
Well, so I didn't necessarily do the cocaine when I was 13, but I was just, that was more so like a summation of the people I surrounded myself
Gotcha.
with.
Okay.
However, like, you know, it progressed like 13, like I was already experimenting with pills and things of that nature.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I had gotten a taste for it, and I knew that I really liked them. And it was sort of a snowball effect that was, that had already started. I knew I had a taste for the pills and things of that nature.
Did you know you was that? You didn't know anything about substance use disorder?
So
being an
I
addict?
did. So after my father got out of prison, he was in AA.
Okay.
And he used to, like, quote the big book to me. And, like,
Okay.
say all these AA quotes.
The slogans.
But I didn't know that they were slogans until after I got clean, for real.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll touch on that later, but it was nuts. But, like, yeah, no, so, like, it kind of snowballed, and one thing led to another, and like I said, I knew I had a taste for it. I was already getting high. Like, I'd go to school and get high at school and, like, just be wrecked all day.
Yeah.
Like, I could barely.
Oh, you wouldn't go if you wasn't high. Did you
Yeah,
get that
yeah,
feeling?
yeah.
Didn't
I would
wanna
go just to get high.
Just
You know what I mean? Like, I completely forget high school. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And I dropped out in junior year. So, like, freshman, sophomore year, I barely remember, you know? I was nuts.
Yeah.
And then I got a surgery. And I had kidney stones, like chronic kidney stones.
Wow.
And they would do like some gnarly shit to me, like in surgery, like
Yeah.
putting all sorts of crazy stuff inside me through like a hole that should just not be fucking. And it's not my ass either.
Yeah, yeah.
It was.
Yeah, I get it, I get it, yeah.
dude. So, anyways, keep
I had a
that
friend
in
that
there
went
too.
through that.
Just keep it in here. Keep it in this fucking. So, I want y'all to know my pain.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, like they prescribed me perks. So it was like an unlimited supply of this thing that I had already had a taste for.
Wow.
And you know, after a while, there was no wean down. It was just like, you're off it.
Just dropped you.
Yeah,
Here you go.
yeah. They were like, good luck.
And that's, you know what?
After like 2 months.
Yeah, the sad thing about that's a lot of people's story. It cut me off, and
Right.
with this thing I got.
Right, and like as a result, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's this thing called phantom pains. So my body tricked my mind into thinking that I was still in pain because I no longer had the substance.
Yeah.
So the only thing I knew to do to get the pain away was to go on the street and get more.
Yeah.
And then one thing led to another, led to, you know, show up at the spot one day and they're like, we don't have this, but we have this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, this is like cheaper and better.
And really be all right, yeah.
Yeah, and that's just what happens. It's just the natural progression, you know, for a lot of people.
Wow, and that's how it happens. A lot
Yeah.
of stories, and you know, whether I hear them wear it or even on the show, people come in and they say, man, I was on these drugs. You know what I mean?
Word, yeah.
I was
You
on
don't
these.
wake up one day and you're like, man, I love
I
to
want to
shoot
sniff or
heroin.
shoot some heroin.
Yo, like that looks so fun. You know what I mean? Like there's no
Just
bone.
nodding out on the corner.
Yeah, like there was no bone in my body that was like, man, like, you know, that needle looks sick. I want it in my arm.
Yeah,
You know?
and at the end though, for me, it got so bad that the girl, it could be a lot of women in the room, but the girl with the needle in her arm, with the blood dripping, I was so attracted to her. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm like, oh, she's so beautiful, right?
I can save her.
Yeah, it was nuts, man. At the end, I'm like, I'm bypass everything. It's nuts.
It's
sick,
like
man.
that with me now, except it's not a needle, it's a septum piercing.
Yeah.
So, septum piercing and tattoos, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, I love her. Yeah.
Does she know her dad? No.
Yeah.
Ah, fuck.
Yeah. Wow. So what did the bitter end look like?
The end?
The bitter end of
Man.
At the end for me, I was homicidal, suicidal.
Word.
I mean, I was willing to kill somebody over a piece of crack.
All the sidles.
Yeah, side, yeah.
Every
or if I
side.
didn't have drugs, or if I didn't have crack, I would contemplate jumping off a damn bridge to end it, right? That's what was me. That's where I was at, like, caught between those two.
Right. I mean, the end was like, the drugs weren't working. Period. Like, no matter how much I put into my body or in my arms, up my nose, down my throat, like, nothing was happening. There was no longer an effect. And like I say it all the time, like, the drugs were doing exactly what I wanted them to do until they weren't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I was no longer getting high. I was just, like, gray. It was just all gray. It all faded into one thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I was suicidal. I was, you know, I had completely accepted the fact that I was gonna die a junkie. You know, like I was like, okay, this is like my calling, and like I had already been, you know, doing music at the time. Like, like I already had a catalog out by the time I was
Of music when you was doing all that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And full blown active addiction, because prior to that, like I was like making music. I was getting like 50,000 views on YouTube from like videos and blogs. Like this was the blog era.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like it was starting to blossom, and then addiction took a hold. I robbed my manager at the time. Like it was a mess.
Yeah.
It turned into an absolute mess. All my dreams were gone, I had thought. You know what I mean? Like I would struggle. Like they didn't want me at the studio anymore because I was all fucked up, like nodding out, and like, you know, I could steal something. Like I was a liability at that point.
I was a liability
You know
too.
what I mean?
Yeah,
I was a super liability.
I get it, man. So but you had the catalog, and you was chasing the dream.
I knew what I wanted to do, but I couldn't do it.
Wow.
You know, and it was so frustrating because I was 19 and I felt like my dreams were gone.
At 19.
At 19, I had accepted the fact that like this was it. This was
Die an
all I
addict.
had, and I was gonna die an addict. So one of the very last times I used,
Wow.
I was hanging myself. I had just done a shot. I was in my mother's bathroom, and I was hanging myself. It was like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And while I'm hanging myself, she gets a call from the other room. She gets a call on the house phone. And mind you, it's like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, right? Nobody's calling the house that late.
Yeah.
And she got this phone call, and it was from the Scholarship Foundation saying that I got accepted for a scholarship.
To a program.
To a program.
Okay.
While I was killing myself.
Wow. Divine intervention, huh?
Yeah, and she screamed that I got accepted through the locked door, you know, because I'm sure
She's probably happy, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, she told me that, like, you know what I mean, like, screamed it.
Yeah.
Assuming that I was in there using when in fact I was
Wow,
trying to commit
shit.
suicide.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
And that's the call that got me clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been.
And you was talking about, we talked about it was Chris Herring Foundation.
Yeah, it was a Chris Herring Foundation.
Shout out to Chris, man,
Yeah.
still doing his thing out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big stuff. So that was the end. So, but let's maybe back up a little bit. But was there a process of detoxes and all that? I couldn't get. They didn't work for me yet.
No.
Just, you know why? You said it earlier. The authority thing is somebody said, "Oh, put the phone down. You can't use the phone." I'll leave the whole detox.
Right.
That was me.
Like, don't you know who I think I am type shit.
I
Like,
would leave the
all
detox.
like 95 pounds of me soaking wet. Yeah, it was a mixture of that and also like, I don't want to say that I didn't think I was done, because after every single time I left the program, I had the best of intentions, but somewhere between the fucking lobby and the parking lot, you know what I mean? Like those that it just all gone out the
Always
window.
happens,
You know what
bro.
I mean? But I'd find myself at a meeting, but I'd be high.
Yeah.
You know, I'd skip the part where you don't get high in the parking lot before the meeting.
Yeah.
Just like get high in the parking lot before the meeting. But it was a mixture of that and like I didn't have the tools and the resources necessary in order to take that next step. You know what I mean? Like I think like.
Did you have any support at that time? Did you still have a little support system? Mom and all. I mean, at the end, I didn't have no support system.
Yeah. Of course.
At the end, everybody. My name was Get the Hell Out. Right.
It was fringing on that. It was fringing on the get the hell out, and then also like we need to do something for you before you die.
Okay.
You know, I can't imagine like the horror that my mother must have felt when she found syringes in her, 18-year-old son's room.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. You know.
That's crazy. It must have been crazy. All right, let's talk about. There was a quote on your. Thank you for that, brother.
Yeah, of course.
There's a quote on your Facebook. It says that I want to know. It says, "What were your thoughts when you're sitting, I assume, in a halfway house, and you just had a trash bag full of clothes, and you slept on the top bunk next to a window in the winter with no heat? What were you thinking? What was that feeling like?"
Fuck this. Well, it was a crossroads in my life, man.
That point there.
It was a crossroads.
Was you
in my
still
life.
writing and everything through all this?
Yeah. Well, the first thing that I did when I got out of treatment was I came up with a plan.
Okay.
I came up with a game plan.
And this was the last time, or?
The last time.
Okay.
I was like, because I had left, this was in Cape Cod. Like, this is 2 hours away from the North Shore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't know anybody. I didn't know the area. I didn't know shit. You know what I mean? All I knew was that, like, I want to make music. Like, I want to write. I want to put this music out. I want to do shows. By any means necessary.
By any means, yeah.
I was like, if I just put like this much energy into it, like to match the energy that I put into getting high every day, like maybe I could make something work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like,
And you're right, Jeff. If you put
that much,
Yeah.
like I've seen some addicts do amazing things. You ever see the video of the motherfucker with the fridge on his back and he's riding a bicycle?
Yeah, he's on the
That's amazing.
We are amazing.
That is an athlete.
Yeah, we're the
This is
only
Olympian.
ones, just right, that can wake up every day, pockets on rabbit ears, and get high.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All
Yeah.
day, you know what I'm
Like
saying?
nothing. Next thing you know, you got $400. How?
Yeah.
How?
disease,
And
yeah.
you're not in jail this time. It's
And you're not in
crazy.
jail, you made it out.
But-
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, man. It was one of those things where, and I was the youngest person in the house.
And in the halfway house?
Yeah.
Wow.
The way I came up, I was always the youngest in the room,
Okay.
because I had just turned 19. I was freshly 19.
Wow.
And like I'm a late bloomer, man. Like I was still going through puberty in that bitch. Like even like when I got locked up or whatever, when I was like 18, like I didn't have not one chest hair on me.
And you
I was terrified, dude. I was terrified.
Yeah.
And
And was that for like trying to get high, getting high?
Yeah. It was like breaking into cars and you know what I mean?
The
Just
little
like
stuff,
very
yeah.
like
Whatever it takes.
Standard addict stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, I get it.
But
So you're sitting there, and you're at that point. You're in the halfway house, and you came up with a plan.
yeah.
I
I was gonna go for it. I was like, I'm just gonna do this thing because this is all I know right now. You know,
so the dream came back alive.
the dream came back alive.
Good
Yeah.
stuff. Let me ask you something. You also said that you. It's kind of funny. You were telling everybody you were going to be something.
Yeah.
What were they saying to you?
They thought I was nuts.
Yeah, they thought you were nuts.
They thought I was nuts. Well, because at the time I wasn't singing, I wasn't playing instruments, I was rapping. You know.
Oh.
So I
Is
came
that
up,
is that where you started rapping?
I came up in the underground rap scene. Yeah. So like growing up,
Okay.
it was like.
That's why your music's got this.
Yeah, I came up,
Combination.
but like real underground rap, like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you look back, there's pictures of me with like Sean P. There's pictures of me with Prodigy from Mobb Deep, Bun B. Like
Oh, you really was-
Immortal
yeah.
Technique. I was really in it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like I was really in it. Like I used to intern for a record label out of Brooklyn. I do like marketing and guerrilla marketing and stuff for them. So that got me in a lot of rooms. Like I met like DJ Premier a bunch, like all of these people. So my roots are like underground rap.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you could see the combo, yeah.
Yeah. But like,
Wow.
so back then it was like, I was like this, this 19-year-old kid, and like I would wear these fucking headphones everywhere, and I tell people like, watch, like I'm gonna do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna do this thing. And I was doing like these shitty little shows at like bar and grills, and like the first show I ever did out of treatment was with Cassidy.
Oh, yeah?
In Rhode Island. Cassidy is a dick, by the way. You're a dick, Cassidy.
He said,
Yeah. Yeah, man. He's not cool, dude.
He's not?
Nah. He was not nice when I met him,
Wow.
Well, but I would have clowned me too. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have clowned me all day for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So that was the first show I ever did when I got clean, and it was like in Rhode Island. Mm-hmm. And technically, I wasn't even allowed to cross state lines,
So you just
I
violated
was on probation, and I was like, fuck it. Like, I violated probation there. I'd do shows there. I'd get booked at, like, some random bar in New Hampshire. So I'd go there again, crossing state lines, like, whatever it took.
But putting things in jeopardy, huh?
Word, whatever it took. Like, seriously, whatever it took, you know? And, like, I was just going for it. And
Yeah.
I just remember, like, the hunger, because I didn't want to just settle for like mediocrity.
No.
I didn't want to settle for like, okay, I'm just gonna get clean and I'm gonna get this little job and I'm gonna get a Honda Civic and play it safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like stay where I got clean and never, I didn't want to do that. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But a lot of people like projected their own fears on me in that sense.
Most definitely. That's what I was going to tell you. A lot of times that's weird because of their own fears.
Yeah, they're like, oh, be careful. Like, you can't be going out to bars and clubs and stuff and being around alcohol and being around weed and drugs. Like, you're 19 years old. You just got clean. Like, and I was like, that's my job.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Like,
Yeah.
I might as well just get accustomed to it now.
Yeah.
And they never thought I'd make it.
And look at you, man.
Yeah, they never thought I'd stay clean. They never thought I'd do shit.
Yeah, congratulations on it.
Thank
All right,
you.
so let's talk about, I want to talk a little bit about, you just came off a tour.
Yeah.
What was that like? Where did you go?
Amazing.
Where did you go? I know you was in Canada.
Yeah, we did the Northwest. So we started in St. Louis because St. Louis was like a one-off that got canceled because I just did a Midwest tour in the fall.
Okay.
And then before that, I did my own headline tour across the country. So I've basically been on tour, on and off tour for like 9 months.
Wow.
I've seen the whole,
Wow.
all of North America.
Wow.
Yeah, like in the past like 8 months.
That must have been crazy.
Like United States proper twice. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But
Nice.
yeah. So we started.
What was it like? What did you? I mean, I know you. I mean, the tour. So, what was your feeling like? Like, wow. I mean, like.
Amazing. I mean, it's one of those things. Like, I really can't like.
Put it.
Well, no, because like being here and having this conversation, and then in the same breath, talking about like what just happened, like what I just did,
Yeah.
is a fucking trip. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I try not to think too much about it. You know what I mean? Like, I try to just think about it like, okay, I'm going to go and do these shows. I'm going to do, like, this is my thing. But when I think about, like, the full spectrum
Where you came
like,
from and
of, like, doing an open mic, like, while people are eating buffalo wings. You know what I mean? Like, I was really, like, there was no PA system. You know what I mean? Like, there was
Screaming, right?
There was an open mic. It was in Falmouth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was just looking. It was recently. It was like almost damn near 9 years ago to the day.
Yeah.
So I'm looking and it's just like 19-year-old me like rapping into a mic for like 5 people sitting at a bar and grill, like just trying to have their buffalo wings.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, a week ago I was in fucking Toronto playing sold out shows. Like it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah, but I see you were having a great time.
Dude, I had so much fun.
It was like a great time.
Oh,
man.
dude, I had a blast.
You met a dog over there.
Oh yeah, there was a dog. Yeah, yeah, there was a cool dog, man.
So let's talk about so are you planning on going? I'm obviously planning on going back out again.
I'm planning on doing this till I die.
Okay. I want to just talk a little bit about your bandmates.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they support you when you guys are together. Tell me a little bit about them. Let's talk about them. How did you guys come together? What do they bring to the table for you? crazy
Yeah.
stuff you've done with you.
For sure, for sure. I mean, so
There you go.
my band is Johnny Francis. He plays the bass.
Okay.
Then we got Jake French on guitar, and then my guy Kumi, aka Coom Dog, he plays the drums.
Okay.
And we're like this, you know.
All Massachusetts-based artists?
Nah, so Johnny
Wow.
and Jake are from New Hampshire.
Okay.
Kumi's from Massachusetts.
Okay.
But I met them through the hardcore scene.
Okay.
So like my friend Edwin introduced me to them. Edwin and I met when I was in jail.
That's the story in
Yeah,
itself.
yeah. So like Ed and I met when I was in jail because our bunks were next to each other at the time, like because we were like it was like during this like booking process or whatever, and yeah, he made music, I made music. He does like hardcore stuff, punk stuff, and we met in the jail, and then like months and months later, like we somehow found each other on Facebook. And I was like,
Wow.
holy shit, like I was in jail with you. He was like, I was in jail with you. And I was like, I'm clean now. And he's like, I'm also clean now.
Yeah.
So we were like, what the fuck? Like I've even like, like presented him with his medallions before and stuff.
Wow.
Like we're like this,
Okay.
So I moved back from LA and I was spending a lot of time at Ed's house in Lowell. And
I'm from Lowell.
yeah.
Born and raised.
Yeah.
Ed, I wonder
He was off of Mammoth Street.
we're from Lowell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good
Was
stuff.
it Mammoth Street?
Mammoth Road.
Mammoth Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lived off Mammoth Road.
Okay.
And like over the weekends he'd have parties, like he'd have friends come over and stuff, like a lot of kids from the hardcore scene that made like hardcore music,
Yeah.
which in no way, shape, or form is like any of the fucking music that I make. I enjoy it. It's cool. I love the culture too. You
Yeah.
know, the people are really nice, and the shows are sick, and they get down.
They get busy, huh?
Oh yeah, I remember my first hardcore show. I just saw somebody walk up to someone else, punch him square in the face, and keep it moving. And the guy that got punched, and the guy that got punched in the face was like, doo 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 doo. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, that's it?
He just ate it?
They just ate it? I'm like, this is fun for them.
Yeah.
I'm like, this
Wow.
is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, nuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Ed introduced me to Johnny because Johnny was there and he made fun of me for wearing a Smith shirt, and like that's kind of like how we met each
Smith,
other.
Emmett Smith?
Nah, the Smiths, like Morrissey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then one thing led to another, and like we became friends, and like I was like, yo, why don't you play bass for me? And then I was looking for a drummer, and I met Kumi at a show, and and then they introduced me to Jake down the line, and it kind of just formed really organic. And like they're down to just mash out with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they believe in it. Like they see the vision, and like we have a fucking blast on the road.
Yeah.
They're like the only people that I can be in a van with every single day, all day for
And not get bored.
a month and like not want to fucking murder. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like we didn't fight,
Wow.
and like we've gone on 3 tours together now, and we didn't fight. We haven't fought.
Had a good time.
Yeah.
Shout out to the bandmates, man. Shout out to
Yeah.
you guys, man.
They're
for
amazing,
supporting
dude.
this
I
brother.
love those guys. Those are my brothers for real.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Let me ask you, Chris Webby. You gave him, you shouted him out in a beautiful way. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Gave him big props. Tell me a little bit about him and what happened, how you guys link up.
Yeah, man. So like Webby's my guy. He's like one of the first people in the music industry to like give me a shot in a sense of like, here is like my platform. Like he's a much larger artist than me.
Yeah.
And he sort of like opened his arms, and like his fan base opened their arms to me in a way that hasn't been done for me ever.
Wow.
I've met a lot of artists. I've met a lot of famous people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they've all been like, oh yeah, your shit's sick, and like that's it.
Wow.
He was like, your shit's sick. Like, I'm putting you on my song. I'm putting you on my album. I'm putting you on my
wasn't
tour.
hating.
Yeah, like we're doing this as a music video, like, and millions of people are gonna see it. We're doing this song as a music video as well. Like, he really like opened his world to me and like welcomed me with open arms. Him, his team, everybody. So it's meant a lot because a lot of people talk,
Yeah.
and they don't fucking do shit. I'm
Yeah.
a man of integrity. If I say something, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And he's the same.
He's
so
the
we
same.
just kind of clicked. But we were introduced through my producer, Knox Beats.
Okay.
And, you know, what had happened was I made this hook for somebody, and it was at like my old apartment in LA, and like I just cut it on like a shitty little mic. Like it was just a random one-off hook that on a beat that Knox produced. And Chris wound up hearing it, and he was like, yo, this is sick. I want this song. And then, yeah, and then one thing led to another, and it wound up becoming Lord Knows. And then we got together and hung out and shot a video for it. And then we were like, let's make some more. And we fucking made a bunch more. Yeah, dude, yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, let's shout out to Chris Webby, man.
Yeah.
Good stuff, bro. Good stuff. Let's talk a little bit about your song, your music.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wanted to talk about the song Noose. I relate to it. You know what I mean? Tell me, what was you thinking was the background? What's the background story of Noose? What message were you trying to get across? What were you trying to say?
Yeah, for sure. So like Noose, I kind of wanted to capture some sort of like almost like a beautiful chaos, because the lyrics and the way that it's written and like the picture it paints is absolutely chaotic.
Give me some of the lyrics, if you don't mind. I mean,
yeah, like Daddy take his drugs, got black in lungs. I prayed to a God that don't exist. I was in the bathroom eating lunch. The kids at school won't kick my... Like just running down like the trauma or whatever, but it's all over beautiful fucking major chords. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's kind of what I wanted to embody was like that beautiful chaos. And also it's like one giant contradiction. You know, the way that I wrote it was like the first verse, it's like all like a circle.
because they pray to a God that don't exist. I was like, okay.
Yeah. So the second verse was kind of like a summation of like all of the traumas. You know what I mean? Like everybody has their own noose, really, at the end of the day. But the first verse was more so to capture like it was one big circle and it was one big contradicting circle. Like they love a pretty mind but hate the ugly parts. Been running from the same thing I'm running towards. Before it falls in place, you gotta fall apart. I can't draw a perfect circle, but I live in one.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, I wanted it all to, like, just be one big circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, a lot of us are just fucking walking contradictions.
You're right.
And oftentimes, like, our trauma contradicts itself, you know?
Wow. That's deep, brother.
Yeah.
That's deep. But I like that song. Okay, how about Bury Me?
Bury Me, I wrote that from the perspective of, like, so we talk about relapses in a sense that's more linear than what most people do. Like when you go to programs, a relapse essentially is like you go back to like using the drug of choice. But also a relapse could be like a spiritual relapse or like a relapse in like your mental health or the way you take care of yourself. So that song is basically written from the perspective of like I had relapsed, you know, not in a sensical way of like using drugs, but just like you know, in
Mentally.
my mind, like spiritually, I had felt as though I had relapsed. You know?
I get that. I mean, I get that. There's a lot of times
So
during the week.
complacent,
Yeah, I feel
forgot
that.
how it tasted. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
That's dope. Superstar.
Superstar was sick. I love that. That's my fucking jam. Yeah, man.
What was
that
about
was
that?
Fun,
What's that?
bro.
Yeah.
That was fun to make too.
I'm saying, yeah, it was?
Oh yeah. So I just pulled up to Webby's house at like 9 o'clock at night. He lives far as fuck.
Did you write it at Webby's?
Yeah, we wrote it together.
You did?
So that song, the hook, took 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Wow.
Max, I want to say. It was me and his producer, JP, on the track. I had just pulled up to Webby's house. I brought my fucking huge keyboard, right? Like, whenever I go to the studio, like, that isn't Knox's or, like, whatever. If they don't have a keyboard there, I'm bringing my shit.
You gonna bring yours?
You know,
You
it's
ask me
like-
before you get there?
Yeah. Well, they encourage it because that's me on the keys in the beginning too.
Okay.
The refrain
Of
is me on the
Superstar?
keys. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it. I just see you on the keys. Yeah.
Yeah, it started with the take it all and say it's not enough. Like it all started with me just playing keys on that, and then I was like, yo, we gotta throw a drop in that bitch. Like we gotta go crazy. Are you not entertained? You know, like so it's kind of like I wanted that song to kind of encapsulate, like, you know, like,
Wow.
like, are we not, like, is this not good enough for you? Like, oh, like, as an artist, like, you are literally putting your whole entire life on the line.
You do.
And like, killing yourself, you know what I mean? Like, people don't understand the toll that this shit takes on you as an artist full-time. Musicians we have one of the fucking most disappointing, difficult jobs in the whole entire world, you know? And we do it all for the fans and for the love, and also it's liberating to like put your art into the universe, because that shit is there forever.
Yeah.
But the path that there is to get you there is tumultuous as fuck. So like
Like what? I mean, I know there is, but what did you experience?
sacrifices, man. Like I have to take so many sacrifices in my platonic friendships, my relationships. Like I don't have a normal life. I'm not a normal guy, and I'm not famous. You know, I'm not even famous. And so, you know, the bigger you get, the harder it's gonna get. And like I'm learning that slowly but surely. So like there's a lot of sacrifices you gotta make. I can't operate like a normal person does. I can't have a set schedule like a normal person does. It's all go, 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 and then crash. Like normal people don't play for an audience of you know what I mean? I think all in all, I played in front of 40,000 people as a whole in the past month. They don't do that and then just go back home and it's silence. That's that's not normal people shit. That's a very significant spectrum of a high and a low. You know what I mean? That's not normal shit.
Yeah, to extremes, huh?
Yeah, it's very extreme, man. It's very extreme.
Empty space.
Yeah. That's another one. That's all me on piano and guitar on that one.
And you did it all.
Yeah, I love that song, man. And like
Is that I know you love them all. What is your favorite? Is Empty Space your favorite?
ooh, I got a couple of them, man.
Yeah.
But like as far as like Empty Space goes, that song is very special to me because like Slug is on it, Slug of Atmosphere.
Okay.
And like growing up, Atmosphere was like one of like my biggest influences.
Oh, for
like,
real?
I was like a huge Atmosphere fan. Like I'm not like a super fan for like many people or whatever, but it's like Atmosphere was like the fucking guy. You know what I mean? Like you know how like some people are like, oh, this music saved my life or whatever, you know? Like that's how it was growing up for me in Atmosphere, you know? So like for
So
me
you
to
got
like
him.
well, for me to be able to like call him a friend and like I just sent him an email. I was like, yo, do you fuck with this? What do you think? Do you want to get on it? And he was like, hell yeah, I do. Cause me and him met when I was like 20 or 21, because I emailed his people and I lied saying I worked at a radio station. And I was gonna interview
All means
him.
necessary.
Yeah, no, for real. For real. I was like, hey, you know, I'm representing XYZ radio station. Like, we're going to come interview you. And I got put on the list. And then, like, another homie hit me up and he was like, yo, I actually know Slug. Like, come with me. And I rolled with him. And we talked about Prince for like 2 hours in the green room. And now, like, yeah, because he's from Minneapolis. So he's a big Prince guy.
Yeah. What are some of your influences? Who influenced you musically? Oh man. I mean, is it too many?
So I have like an extremely eclectic music taste because like growing up, like it was my dad that initially like made me fall in love with music.
Okay.
You know, me and my dad are very much same. You know, it was actually his birthday.
Was he
the other
musically
day.
inclined? Was he?
No.
He didn't play that.
I was the only one that was musically inclined in my family.
Wow.
And that's it. I mean, he.
But the passion for it seemed like it
he
just
was
got
a writer.
passed down to you.
Yeah, like he wrote.
Yeah.
My mom was a writer as well, so you know that part kind of must have translated. But yeah, like so growing up, he would expose me to like all sorts of different albums and artists and like, you know, do you remember like the Music Choice catalogs?
Yeah.
And you know how it was like buy one album get 3 for free. So he would let me get the catalog when I would go and see him on weekends every now and then. He'd give me the catalog and I'd choose like my favorite album cover. So it was all over.
That's how you chose music?
Like, yeah. So it was all over the place. So like I had like Straight Outta Compton, and then I had like Bulls on like Rage Against the Machine.
That's a nice album cover anyway.
Dude, it was sick. And then I had like Busta Rhymes, and then I would also go and listen to like Marvin Gaye and Motown and fucking, you know, everything.
So you was wide open to it.
Yeah, I was wide open. I would just spend hours going through his tower of CDs and just like listening and soaking it all in, you know?
Wow. Yeah, real music head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing, this is a funny one. What's up with them damn custom-made Doc Martens you were given?
Oh, dude.
Those were awesome. I looked at you.
Nuts. Nah, those are crazy. I mean.
Somebody just walked up and said.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so they are a fan. I think they're from Springfield, Missouri. And I played a show there, and she actually brought me art there. It's a trip. It's weird to think that like I've made an impact enough to where people go out of their way to like
You know all that. I
to
looked
like
at
yeah, and those are all like quotes from like all my my magazine and newspaper articles and shit like and like my designs. It's fucking crazy.
Where they at now?
They're in my room.
You-
I have a section and it's just like all fan art. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And like I'm like running out of wall space.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's
like
a good thing.
people bringing me these things like wood burns. Like I have like a couple wood burns of me. Somebody painted like this whole thing and it's got like my face in it and like all sorts of things that represent me. And it's between that and like people getting my shit tattooed on them. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
It's a trip. It's
Yeah.
wild because I was just a fucking junkie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people didn't even want me around.
Yeah. But you knew that we are more than that. You know, that's one aspect.
For
of us.
sure.
But you touch people. I mean, I can see where your music can touch people. Like I said, I relate to news. When you tell a truth, and you give, voice to your pains or your traumas.
Right.
We all have pain and trauma. Some will suppress it and don't. You know what I mean? But to those that your music touches, I'm sure they very appreciative of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I appreciate it
am.
just as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's big stuff. All right, so how does it feel to be one of Boston's most exciting rising music stars? How does it feel?
I don't know, man. It just
It's not a big-
I'm just listen like all that other stuff is
If
subjective.
you can listen to somebody and somebody call you junkie, and then somebody comes extreme saying yo, and putting you on like a sort of a pedestal.
Yeah.
That's
like I appreciate the speculation. It's great and it feels good.
Yeah.
But like if I get too caught up in that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I stay right there.
You like to stay grounded, right?
Like I like to stay in the moment. Like Boston's most exciting. Like I don't even know who said that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what
Is that a quote from somewhere?
that came from somewhere. Yeah.
They're talking about me?
Yeah.
That's weird.
I did some research, brother.
Yeah, man. I mean, shit. It's exciting, but like at the same time, like I have imposter syndrome. So like I'm just like I'm so far removed from it. Like all I do is like sing my little songs in the studio and like play these little shows and like everything else is kind of subjective, you know?
Okay, I got you.
It's sick.
But
though.
that's what they're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Question.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
try to keep like my ego in check.
No, I appreciate
you know?
that. Yeah, no, it's good, but it's also good just to hear or to embrace what people are saying,
Yeah,
what people are thinking.
of
You know what I mean?
course.
It's really a beautiful thing.
That's me.
Yeah,
That's me.
Because guess what? It was pushing you in. Now people are hugging us, right?
Yeah.
This is your quote. When music makes you friends, but battles make you family. What does that mean?
When the fuck did I say that?
I don't know. That's yours.
What do you? No, dude. There's no way I said that. Did I really say that?
It's on your page. Yeah.
When what?
When music makes you friends, and battles. No, music makes you friends, but battles make you family.
When the fuck did I say that?
All right. We can move on.
Well, it sounds sick. Like I'll take it.
It is sick.
I guess that's that. Yeah, I said that, dude.
Yeah.
I said the shit out of that for sure.
No big deal. All right. Okay, can you explain the clown face? I seen it and I'm like, all your videos is kind of like sick.
Thank you.
Right? They're kind of like, you can tell that they come from you. If you put 10 videos and 4 were yours, I can put those 4 out because
Yeah.
you know what I mean. You can just that mindset. What inspires you to create those videos? What's the clown face? What are those characters?
Weirdo noggin of mine, man.
Them videos are hot, man.
Like pretty much, I'm a visual thinker.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like so when I hear songs, like I immediately think of like how it would translate
Okay.
visually. Cause like going back to like when I was a kid, like making movies with my toys
And with the damn baby powder.
Yeah, and like making sets with the baby powder and things of that nature. Like I've always had a natural knack for like wanting to create like visual arts, and like I'm not good at painting or drawing. My handwriting is
Me neither.
trash.
Yeah, me too.
But like if I see something in my head, I can properly put it out with the right tools. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can have it in front of me. And that's exactly what happened with the Wish You Well video.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I really wanted to do a play off the sad clown paradox. And, you know, tailing back to like very similar to the Superstar song.
Okay.
And like the underlying meaning of that, feeling like, you know, you have to perform, you're expected to perform at the highest level, at your highest capability. And if you falter or if you make one small little mistake, you fell off, you're not good, you're fake, you're a poser, imposter. You know what I mean? And it creates like sort of this this paradox to where you have to be this clown, you have to show up and you have to perform, but really at the end of the day, it's like you're a sad clown. So hanging myself at the end of that video,
dude, you're nuts, dude.
but the crowd, that's what the crowd wanted. You know what I mean? So like you notice like toward the end of the video, I got the standing ovation when I hung myself. When I went out there,
and I didn't get that at first, but now that I'm talking to you,
like when I went out there and and I was doing the clown thing, they were booing me. They didn't like it. They didn't want it. Like, we want to see you absolutely go out of your way to destroy yourself for our entertainment. You know what I mean? And that's Hollywood, baby. You know what I mean?
Got you.
But I've sent
That's
that before that came out. I sent it to Slug from Atmosphere, and he was like, "This is a sick video. I gotta ask though, are you good?" And I was like, "We got a good one."
Yeah,
I think we got the goods, man.
A friend of mine, so I was telling her that you came and she knows you, and she said, "Man, he comes from a dark place, man." I was like, "Yeah."
Well, it's so
and
funny.
she's just a regular person.
Word.
Yeah, but I get it. But she's just a regular person. And
Yeah.
and we were talking about it. She said, "Yeah, he comes from."
Well, yeah, I was like, I'm not even like a dark dude like that.
You're not, but the music, I think what it is, just when I want to do we talked about it, documentaries and things like that. And I know my documentaries will be like, people like, "Oh my God, why did he put that out there?" Right. And even though there is sick stuff and crazy stuff, but it's just our lane. I just think it's our truths, when trauma really speaks and shows up, what it really looks like.
100%.
You know what I mean? And for me, this is what I can tell you with it, and I can talk in meetings and talk to people about my trauma.
Yeah.
But if I can put that like where you can see it, you're like, oh, you're like, ooh. You know what I mean?
And it was super off-putting for a lot of people too. Like shit like that, super off-putting for a lot of people.
But they have to catch up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we talked about before. You know what I mean? When I first, like I said, I first started getting into it and looking, I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay. And then I'm seeing pictures of you. I'm like, oh, you talked about contradiction, right? And you're looking, but I started listening to it, and I was able to identify.
Yeah.
And like, damn, man. And I sent news to a couple of people, like, check this. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Check this out.
The video, you like the video of
Loved
that?
it, man, yeah.
That's one of my favorite videos.
So I sent it to them. And they were like, yeah. And I sent it to one of the guys at the center, and he was like, when is he coming in? And I was like, yo, so he was supposed to be there and meet you today, but obviously.
Oh, no.
I mean, they wanted to meet you, you know what I mean? Yeah, no, the videos are off the chains.
Those are my babies, man. I love my babies.
Nah, they're dope. They're you. You know what I mean? And you can tell they're you. I have like 2 more questions, and then we can, if there's anything you want to talk about, but I have 2 more questions. One of them is, once an addict question. I just don't leave. I don't let nobody leave without asking this. And the reason, everybody from Matt Ganem, all of them.
I love it. You have Maddie on here.
Matt had Matt, Joe Demio.
I love Matt.
I had all of them. I mean, Rob Demio.
Yeah.
I had Rob. I had I had Mathematics. I had a lot of people.
Oh yeah, you had all the fucking addict superstars.
They all came on. It's just they all came blessed the show, and
hell yeah.
I still have like mad other people. You know what I mean? I appreciate it, and like I said, once this evolves and we go to the next level, man, I'm calling you guys again. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But once an addict, the reason why I asked that, because people think it's just a moral issue.
Right.
A lot of society looks at it, and that's how we get stigmatized and all that. So I try to get enough people to come on and just talk about their thoughts about once an addict, always an addict.
Nah, that's not true at all, man.
No?
That's not true. I mean, here's the thing. I always have like addict tendencies. Not necessarily like I'm gonna steal your shit and like go fucking pawn it, like, you know. But more so in a sense of like, you know, I'll always have like that thing that wants more.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's good. You know, sometimes it's a superpower.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like the guy with the fridge on the bike.
That's just, yeah.
It could be a superpower, you know? And that's the way I like to think of it.
Okay.
You know, like once an addict, always an addict. That's just a stigma. That's like one of those scary stories. Because people didn't fully understand like the spectrum of addiction and like what it really is and what somebody in addiction looks like when they're in recovery. Because we give so much spotlight to those that are in active addiction. We see people that are in active addiction every day, you know what I mean? You go through Boston, you drive through any major metropolitan city, there's gonna be homeless people there. I mean, even in Canada, like motherfuckers were just like smoking crack and crystal meth just wide out open on the streets.
They don't
like,
open?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's legal to an extent.
It's like
there.
Keniston in Philly, right?
Dude, that's exactly what I said. I was like, this is Broad Street. This is crazy.
Nuts,
Yeah, man. But like, and I feel like, you know, the spotlight that's them put on recovery, it's formed around us still being victims. Like we're still babies, like, oh, they can't go to bars, they can't be around drinking, they can't do this, they can't do that. People, places, things, same playground, same playthings. Like that's all bullshit too.
Yeah.
It's all part of the stigma, and it's also there's a lot of it that
What you're saying is self-stigmatizing too?
it's self-stigmatizing, but also it adds this preconceived notion to the person in recovery, to where it's like, oh, well, they said I can't be around this because I'm going to use. Then if I'm around that,
I'm gonna use.
Or they said if I miss one meeting a week, I'm going to go and get high. So what happens? They miss a meeting a week, they feel off because they told themselves over and over again they're going to feel off, and then they go and fucking get high because this is the type of talk and this is the type of dialogue that they're conditioned to have with themselves.
Wow, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It's not so linear. It's
No.
not linear like that. You can do whatever you want. The whole point about getting clean is so that you can do
To have some
literally-
freedoms, right?
Yeah, like we talk about like freedom. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like there's tiers to it, and there's breaking the chains that bind. How are you gonna break the chains that bind if you're too scared to go to a fucking cookout, man? You know,
Yeah.
like make it make sense. So a lot of it is like the spotlight that they put on people in recovery, the dialogue that goes along with it, and then in turn the dialogue that we have with ourselves and with our other peers that are in recovery. Somebody
Wow.
comes to me and says they want to do something, like go for it. You know what's going to happen if you pick up that first one.
No matter what, yeah. You're right.
You have the choice.
Yeah, we do. So can I ask you off that question? Does language, because I do not when I first came around, I took on the lingo. I'm down, I'm a crackhead. And this is what I used to say in meetings because I used to take what I followed people.
Right.
Now we're coming around, like you just said, we've advanced a little bit. And it's like that self-talk, that neuro-linguistic programming that I'm doing.
Yeah, the neurological pathways that you
create.
create.
The neurological pathway.
Word.
So it's like, so I'm that self-talk, like you said. So, but now I don't go and we're changing the language. We don't even call it relapse no more. We call it a recurrence, right? We don't call this junk addiction or whatever. We call it substance use disorder, right? Because we put the clinical perspective on it, and we kind of try to make it look like just like a person with cancer. They're not stigmatized because they got cancer,
Right.
or whatever else. But yeah, I like that, brother. I like what you said. One more last question I have. Do you believe, we talked about a little bit, in all pathways? Meaning, you don't care how people get clean. You don't judge them. I don't care if you have to do MAT. I don't care what your program is.
For sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I believe, has anybody come up in here and been like, nah?
Some people come in, I mean,
For real?
because, yeah, and what happens is, we know, and like...
Do you cut that part out?
I go in meetings, where there's some shows that people think, I have to respect it because you didn't catch up yet.
For sure.
You know what I mean? A lot of people are not caught up on it, and they hold on to, no, if you don't do this, if you don't do it these two ways that we normally, traditionally, the ones I got introduced to, then I can't do it no way. So I found that one size fits all thing, it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
Right now, my freedom, I can pick and choose, but people are, I go to meetings and I go places and people are like, what's he talking about? Like, man, I don't care about, I used to, Jeff, because I used to talk or think like people used to think. People used to think for me, put it that way. Mm-hmm. If a person comes in and they say, yeah, I'm on methadone, and everybody looks like this. And you know what I mean? Like, what the hell are you doing here?
Right.
And now I used to be that, but now it's like, I don't care what y'all come in and grow when, whenever you deal with your recovery the way you want to do. Do you believe that?
I mean, listen.
That person should have the right to create. create their own path.
Like, I'm at the point where, like, too many people I love have died for me to say that there's only one way to stay clean or get sober, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in, like, whatever works for you, as long as you're taking steps forward to, like, better yourself and to, like, not die. Like, that's great. You know what I mean? I don't care what that looks like. I know my recovery is, like, the way I do it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm completely abstinent and, like, that's it. But that's me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to push something that worked for me on somebody else if they don't want it.
Yeah.
You know? Because that's when it becomes, like, not attractive.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's barriers.
Yeah.
Putting barriers up in front of
Yeah,
people.
and, like, you're stepping over boundaries, and it's just like, listen, if this person wants to do X, Y, and Z, but, like, stop doing the thing that's going to kill them,
Support it, like-
please fucking do that.
Yeah.
Like, too many people are dead. You know
And
what
they're
I mean?
dying. We're still dying.
And, like, the whole MAT thing, like, you know, to an extent, I don't necessarily agree with people being so against it.
Yeah.
I feel as though it's saved a lot of people's lives. It's
saved a
changed a
lot
lot
of
of people's
lives.
lives. It's made a lot of people parents. Makes a lot of people,
It is.
you know, friends, brothers.
Work, employable.
Employers, you know what I mean? Like, employees.
Yeah.
Like, and it all started with that. Now, granted, like, I don't think, you know, going and being on it for like 25 years is like the best play.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But a lot of the times, people don't allow others to even like get to that conversation when it's brought up.
Yeah.
It's just right away like
They do, yeah.
strike you down, and I'm like, dude, does that make you feel better? Like,
Yeah.
does that make the person pointing the finger at them? Like, how do they feel? Like, does that make you feel better
Yeah.
because you're, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. That's what we're doing. Cool, man. Appreciate everything. And now is the time, brother. And you're welcome anytime.
Yeah, for
but now's
sure.
the time you have you and the camera, you and, you know, say whatever you want to say, if you want to give a message or whatever. And what
know,
else? See
man.
your music. You'll be on tour.
Yeah.
Stay clean. Stay happy.
for
Whatever it
sure.
is. Whatever it is.
Yeah, you can find me everywhere, just like Justin Clancy on everything. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. I had a
this.
good time, man.
Yeah,
You good?
likewise.
You-
This is huge too, and like I see the impact, like, you know, through reading through comments and things like that you're leaving like within the recovery community, and like it's
Thanks.
needed, you know, it's necessary.
Thank you,
And
bro.
we need to like keep uplifting our people and like, you know, keep putting that positivity out, you know.
appreciate
so
that,
like
yeah.
I appreciate you having me on your platform and
Yeah.
like being able to
Appreciate
like
you coming,
ask
bro.
good questions.
Yeah, you liked it? They're not bad, right?
That
Had a
was
good
good,
time.
dude. No, this was easy. It wasn't even. I don't even count this as an interview. We were just shooting
Kicking
shit.
it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, guys. Yeah, we'll have it up at the end where you can contact Justin. You can find his music, and I encourage you to support him. Local artist, man, he's doing his things, and like I said, his music speaks for itself. I delved into it, found one song I like. I'm gonna deal more, and one I can relate to. So we'll have all that information up at the end. I just want to thank you guys for, like I said, always supporting it. My nephew came in today, man. I'd like to thank brother for coming around and supporting me today on the show. And like I always say, man, before I close, let me just say that please come to the open house May 26th, this Friday at the Recovery Connection, 10 to 3. It's a cookout, fun. Yeah, we're just gonna have fun. But in closing, like I always say, man, I want to say I love you to my daughter, Taisha, my son, little Darryl, and my little princess, Zayla. Peace, I love you guys.